apologize to my viewers, and thanks to my guests for being so patient. So we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? So today we have a combination of kids, parents, and teachers, and we're going to be talking about the pandemic and how we've been surviving during this quarantine time and while we've been social distancing. So I have parents from all across the country that we're going to be interviewing today, and the kids, me and Dawson, and we're going to go ahead and welcome our guests to the Marnese Live Talk Show. And we have Sakara Jackson from Redford, Michigan. We have Letitia Harris from Fresno, California. We have Stephanie Narajo from San Diego, California. And then we have Samara Walker, who's with DJ. And so thank you all to the show. And welcome to Marnese Live Talk Show. Woo! And we have Laura from Colorado. Yay, Laura! Woo! Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into our questions. So we would love to go around and meet everybody. So I see Letitia. Would you like to tell us who's with you?
Sure. Today I have my daughter, who's Samara. She is 14. And then we've got DJ. He keeps popping up. He's a little camera shy. Excuse me, he's 7.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and then we're going to go to Laura. Laura, tell us about you and where you're at and where your kids at.
Hi, I am in Colorado, and my kids are in the living room fighting over Minecraft.
Oh, wow, quarantine life. Wow, yes. Minecraft. All right, I see next is Portia. Hi, Portia. Tell us about you.
Okay, hello, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so been home with my family for a month now. Since they officially stopped school about 3 weeks ago, they finally announced that maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, they officially said they were gonna stop school. So I've been home with my boys, been teaching required online classes.
Thank you, Portia. And then we're gonna go into Sakara Jackson. Where's Sakara? We just see a white door, Sakara.
Children,
she's with the children. Well, we'll come back to Sakara and introduce her when she comes on. So we're going to get into the questions, and I'm going to let my co-host, Dawson, ask the kids some questions. You want to go ahead, Dawson? Okay.
So, what are you doing with at home with your parents?
Feedback.
Did you hear the question?
No, there's a lot of feedback.
Okay. You want to repeat yourself?
You may have to turn your microphone off.
Okay.
Turn his on.
So
go ahead and just ask the question and look in the camera.
What are you doing while at home with your parents?
All right. So which one of you guys want to tell us about what you're doing at home with your parents?
Oh, the kids.
They have kids though.
Mm-hmm.
At home. We're doing
Next
chores
to Ethan Sanaya.
and homework. Chores and homework. Are you doing anything at home with your parents? DJ said he's not doing anything at home.
And we want to welcome Sakara to the panel. Hi, Sakara. Tell us where you're at, and welcome to our Marnese Live Talk Show. So glad you can join us.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Home.
We live in Radford, Michigan, and we've been in the house for about 4 weeks now. 3-4 weeks.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't count days and weeks.
I'm on brain. All right. So would any other kids like to respond to what they're doing while at home with parents?
I can respond for my kids.
Great. I would love to hear it.
Okay, they are fighting about Minecraft and getting punishment for hitting each other. They are sometimes doing schoolwork, but mostly not. Hey, that's not true. Oh, okay, it's true for one.
Wow, we
Yeah.
have a lot of feedback. Come on,
Yeah,
the camera. We would love to hear that.
I know. Well, he can't take time away from his game, so we'll see if he'll come back for some more questions. Oh, here it comes. All right. What are you doing with your parents when you're home on
Playing games.
playing games?
Yes.
Like what? Okay. He can't tear away from the screen. Carry on.
Okay, so let's bring in, you want to ask Ethan and Sanaya what they're doing home?
Mm-hmm. What are you doing while at home with your parents? We clean our house and we have fun and we do schoolwork. Okay.
It's so silly.
And play on our iPads. And play on Minecraft. Be crazy.
All right, Dawson, would you like to ask another question for our guests who are attending tonight?
Yeah.
So,
What do you miss about school? Do you like staying at home or going to school?
thanks so much, Dawson, for that question. So, what do you all miss about school? And do you like staying home with your parents?
I answered that.
Go ahead, Naya.
No. I miss about school is art, music, and gym and recess.
Everything we can't do at home. Well, I guess we could.
Also, I miss my friends.
Ethan, what do you miss about school? Hurry up.
Chromebooks.
Okay.
Okay, so we would love to hear about what's going on in Fresno and San Diego. What's going on over there?
What do you miss about school?
My friends and
Look at the camera.
all the fun stuff at school.
What do you miss about school?
Math.
You miss math. He misses math.
You said that's your teacher?
He misses math. He likes to do math, so he misses math. Samara misses her friends and the fun stuff. DJ misses math.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um,
And my kids, 2 and 4, they're in preschool and they definitely miss their friends. So they're actually been really sad that they've been missing school.
all right. So where are your children, Sandy? Or do we need to talk more about that in the parent section of the interview?
Yeah, well, we have one here. And the other one, Frida.
I'm right here.
And is that dad in the background?
Dad in the background.
Okay.
So my daughter's shy, so she's around, and my son, he's 2, and he's
All right. And Miss Portia, who do you have with you?
This is my son, King.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Ask him the.
He's 4, and he's in preschool, and he does duo with his best friend almost every day. That's what he's doing.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 1, 2. So Laura, I guess your kids just like we're not coming on. All right. Like, look, we would love to hear about what they've been doing at home, and do they like staying at home? Right, Dawson?
They'll be making some cameo appearances, I think.
Okay. Hey, this is the quarantine life, right? So before we get into the next question, I would like to go to the chat and do a shout out to all of our listeners. Hi, Ashley, she's in Waterford, Michigan, and then I see Mr. Eddie DeWalt, and then I see Miss Natalia, aka Shella McCarver. She's in Michigan as well. So thanks so much for tuning in. And if you could share this on your page and like Marnese Live Talk Show at facebook.com, please do so. So we're going to get into the last question. And Dawson, can you take it away? So as can you read the last part? Yeah, I can do that. So as parents and, working through this quarantine, trying to survive, doing a new schedule, adapting to a new life, because we all know we're not going to go back and be normal. So for the kids, Dawson has something to ask you, how we're going to, get through this quarantine. What? What? You know what I'm saying? Wait, we need to help. Go ahead, Annette. I did. No, I had you muted. I'm sorry. What superhero want to be? What superhero? What the kids gonna do to save us from the quarantine? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go to, I see Miss Sanaya. Dawson asked you, what superhero would you like to be? Batgirl. Batgirl? Batgirl. Is that Ethan in the background?
Yes.
He's screaming all the time.
Would he like to tell us what superhero he's going to be to save us from the quarantine?
Go ask your brother. Come back to him.
Okay, so we'll come back to Ethan. Let's go to Fresno, California.
Flash. What superhero you want to be? Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman. Well, we got Flash and Wonder Woman.
All right. Okay, so let's go back to Michigan. Portia and King, what superhero would you all like to be to save us from the quarantine?
Be Batman.
Batman? Oh my goodness. Okay.
I didn't answer this.
And let's go back to California. Did you ask your kids, Sandy, what superhero they want to be?
Oh. My son is definitely Spider-Man.
Okay.
He is
That's
Spider-Man.
mine.
And
That's
and she loves Wonder Woman.
Okay. All right, and let's go to Colorado. Laura, I know you know what superheroes.
Hey, Bo, what would you do to save us from the quarantine?
I'd stay home.
You'd stay at home. All right, very practical response there.
Stay home. That's the best thing that we can do right now is to stay home, stay safe, and make sure that we're not, being susceptible to, the virus, right? So that's the best thing that we can do right now is to stay home and stay safe and wash our hands. Okay? Also, what are you going to do? Which superhero are you going to be?
I would just be Shazam.
Shazam?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like Shazam. Shazam is cool. All right. So kids, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to switch to talk to our parents. So let's say bye to the world. You guys are live on Facebook and we'll be live on YouTube. So thank you so much for coming on. Oh, I see somebody else. Do anybody else want to tell us what superhero they want to be before we log off? For the kids, log off and let the parents tell us what's really going on.
Ethan said. What's actually Ethan? Ethan said Batman.
Batman? Okay. All right.
What Batman?
All right. Well, thanks, kids, and thanks so much for participating. Parents. All right. Let's come on and talk about what's really going on during quarantine. Thank you so much, Dawson, for being my co-host for today. Mm-hmm. And you can actually go get ready for bed. Thank you.
Of course.
Because that's my son. All right. All right, parents, thank you so much for all being on my show. So, this has been an adjustment for all of us, right? So I'm curious to know, really, how are you really feeling? Tell the world, because I see different Facebook posts, come get these kids, they crazy. How are you adjusting? What's your stress? Thank you, Dawson. I know I'm crazy. What's your stress level? Tell us more about it. Okay, you guys got to unmute yourself.
I'll go first. So far, it hasn't been bad, actually. I actually enjoy being with my kids. They can.
Wait a minute.
I'm saying a lot of people sometimes when it's a snow day or something, you see parents like, oh my God, it's a snow day. What am I going to do? And I can't relate to that. But I mean, they get bored sometimes, of course, being in the house a lot. We go for walks and things like that. But, we're really in the house the entire time. So they do get bored and they have their moments. But for the most part, it's been okay. I'm ready to go back outside, though.
All right.
Over this.
I'm about to say,
But no, you will see Facebook posts when people are like, oh my God, it's a snow day, or what am I going to do with my kids for this whole spring break? Like, they can't be in it. I don't know. I can't relate to that,
though. Okay. All right. So, Letitia, tell me what it's really like in Fresno, quarantining with your kids. How's your stress level? How's the work-life balance? Tell us more about, how are you feeling?
It just depends on the day. Every day is different. Like at the moment, my children are officially fighting. They were just sitting here getting along, and now they're fighting. So
already, just that quick, huh?
Just that quick. And when the Flash was running through the house like he was Flash, and now he's in the having a complete meltdown. Mm-hmm. But it just kind of depends on the day. I think the roughest part for me, just a few weeks ago, I had to self-quarantine because I had to be tested for COVID-19. Thankfully, those tests came back negative. But being away from my kids for that week, many think, oh, that's a vacation. You got a vacation from your kids for a whole week. Whereas the stress level actually increased because now they're in two separate households, trying to make sure they were still doing their work, trying to teach them virtually, be mom virtually, and you can't hug and kiss your kids was like one of the hardest things. So that was the hardest part of the whole shelter in place that had been going on for me. But juggling the work life, mom life, we had always had a lot going on because my kids are very active in sports. So we're always on the go. So this was kind of our downtime to not have to do anything. But spending this much time with my kids, it's kind of been frustrating to spend this much time with them, try to be teacher mommy, and still work a full-time job and deliver at work. So the adjustment, some days is good, some days it's rough, other days we're like, and I'm learning that at this point, good enough is just good enough. Good enough will do.
All right, Laura, I love that face, okay? I love it. Tell me more. What's going on in Denver, Colorado? How are you surviving?
I know. Just listening to y'all, I'm thinking like, God, I better like write my gratitude journal tonight because yes, I'm really grateful to have this extra time with them. And every morning I start with the attitude like today, it's not going to be like, I will not cry today. It will not be a problem. And by like 10:30, I'm already kind of like, all right, what actually are we going to do today? My first grader last week basically just decided he was going to drop out of first grade. I guess he just kind of stopped doing work and like, no, I'm not doing it.
Don't he know he gonna have to get a GED if he drop out, you know?
I mean, I kind of like, I haven't yet told him that's not actually a thing, that you like don't drop out in first grade. So that mommy taken away. He's been a struggle. Like distance learning and learning online is like not his jam, and there's no way around it. Like he's, you know, I've tried everything. I've like stood on my head. I've done the work with him. It's not working. So basically, I guess my survival strategy with him is that I kind of like do one thing and then let him go watch Electric Company reruns for a while, and then try to get a little bit of work done in like 15 or 20-minute increments, and then come back to him and, you know, get a next like Zoom set up and doing all that, and then try to work while he's, you know, occupied for those 10 minutes. So it's a struggle. You can hear them.
All right.
They're fighting already, so
okay.
All day.
Quarantine life. All right, Miss Portia, tell us about like, how are you surviving? How are you adjusting? Like, what's your stress level? Is this like a new thing for you? Like, oh my gosh, my life is about to end with these kids at home. These teachers don't know how to get on Zoom. Like what? And you're a teacher, by the way. Like, look, you got both sides. Tell us more.
Both sides. I have to take it day by day, because if I don't, like my stress level will be like really, really high. I really don't worry about what's going to happen the next day. Besides, you know, dinner, I'm gonna have to remind myself to take something out of the freezer or we won't have any food. Other than that, only thing that I'm really worried about every day is making sure my kids are, you know, staying safe in the house, you know, because they're getting a little cabin fever, so they're starting to jump off the top bunk and, you know, jump off the, you know, the top of the couch and, you know, all type of things. And doing my lessons, I'm constantly doing lessons. I've never had to do a PowerPoint for every single lesson, so it's a lot every single day. I'm exhausted by the end of the day.
Portia, it will get better.
And I'm probably keeping all these wine section in business because I'm having a glass of wine every night. Because that's
we should have a parent wine quarantine wine down at 9 p.m.
I try a different wine every time I go to the grocery store.
Good thing for me, I stopped drinking in January. But Sandy, you looking like everything's just like rainbows and sunshine. Like, what's your stress level? Tell me, because you look fabulous. Like, what's going on over there?
Thank you. That's not what I feel on the inside. I've been really, it's been really stressful because it's, you know, it's not as easy as, okay, you're just at home, so just do everything what you usually do. what the school provides, what you do for work full time. Just do it at home. It's really not that simple. And my kids, they're 2 and 4, so for them, they don't really understand that we're in quarantine and what is really going on. My daughter is gaining some concepts of like we can't really go to places, but I think overall, like just trying to be. I think all of us are, being super moms, and it's just really at this moment it's really hard, and it's just like, you know what, it's fine if things don't get done or whatever because we're in a pandemic. And so there's there's not like a book that says like here's the right way to do things, because you know what, there's no real guide on like, and you could only do the best you can. And so I think that's where I'm just trying to do is just the best what I can, what my capacity is.
Thanks so much, Sandy. Okay, so what are you guys looking forward to after this quarantine? The stay in place, stay at home is lifted. Like, what are you guys looking forward to? One word. Sakar.
Here.
What you looking forward to?
Freedom? No.
Hey,
That is not a good word because we are not in bondage. That is not a good word. I think just kind of back to normalcy. I know the kids are not going back to school, but having some type of summer, we usually do some type of trip in the summer, whether we go to a water park or just doing something like that. So I am kind of just looking forward to that, and hopefully, my son can have a birthday party in June, and my 1-year-old daughter can do something for her birthday in September. So just going back to kind of normal life.
Not in bondage yet, but we may be signing up for our What? You knew I was going there. Hey, we might be signing up for our district. You never know. So make sure you guys stay aware. All right, Laura, one word. What are you looking forward to after this quarantine? Stay at home, stay in place. Besides wine.
I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to having like a full day to be able to work and not like doing it in 15-minute increments. You said one word, manicure. One word.
Sandy, one word.
Hugs. I want to hug my family.
Letitia.
Vacation.
Portia.
Family.
Thank you so much for that. And yeah, that makes us like really lean into being grateful. I don't know about you all, but I do a grateful list every morning just because of this. It makes me like go inward. So I really do miss my family. Oh my gosh. All right. So to leave as we in this conversation with parents, what, based on your experience, what can parents do to support each other and support teachers during this time? Like, how can we support each other? How can we support teachers? What's some good balancing life techniques? Letitia, you want to give a stab at that?
To support teachers, my dad is a former educator, so it's easier for me to send my kids down the street to my parents' house and say, you're teaching the kids today. But being patient with them, helping them, understanding that they're just as stressed as we are trying to teach our children, and being patient and not so demanding. So being patient with the teachers. And I'm learning to find a routine. That's how I'm learning the balance, finding that routine. And it may not be the traditional routine. We're at 9 a.m., we're in class. We don't go to school until 1 o'clock because that's when mommy takes a break. So you're doing 1 to 3 from learning. But finding a routine that works best.
All right. Sandy, techniques, life balancing. How can we support our teachers? How can we support other parents during this time?
I think it's just having that genuine conversation. What do you need? How can I help you? Because having that conversation, for example, I've spoke to the teachers at my kids' preschool, and and they just don't really hear that often because it's more like what they get approached is like, okay, what can I do to get my kids lessons plans and so on. So there's never a question asked like, how are they doing individually? because they have their family life, their issues, and they're trying to, and they really care about their students. And so I want to ask, how can I help you? And I think with other parents, it's like, how can I help you? And I know that we can't solve everyone's problems, but I think that just offering support to others, to teachers and other parents, is just one step, and we can work together. And I think we need to have that conversation more often, because I think everyone tries to solve it on their own. They want to fix it on their own, but sometimes it's okay that we can't do it on our own, and that we can rely on each other, and that we are a community. And so I think it's just stepping back and asking, how can I help you? What can I do? That would be the way to help teachers and other parents.
All right, Portia, before we get into you, because you have two, you have a dual role here. You're a parent and a teacher. But Laura, I'd love to hear more from you about like life balancing.
Supporting the teachers.
Yeah, supporting the teachers, giving techniques to other parents. Like, and what do you need? Like, I would love to hear more, like, as a parent, like, what do you need to continue to, work through this quarantine?
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky because we have employers that are being pretty generous with their personal time and flexible time. I think you guys have said it before. It's like we just need more latitude and giving people, a wide lane to figure out how to do this. It's all new to every one of us, and we all have our different challenges and difficulties. I think in respecting that teachers do an incredible job. I think I've seen with my youngest, the teachers were telling us like, yeah, he might have some issues. And now we see like, okay, I see what you guys have been dealing with, and this is tough. So we've had lots of conversations with them, or not a lot. I'm trying not to fill their inboxes, but, and just seeing like, it's helpful for me to be there on the screen and keep him from like touching all the stuff. So asking like what we can do to kind of make the classroom experience more, go a little bit smoother for them. And I think, yeah, I do think that everybody just kind of needs to give everybody a wide berth, because there's some hard stuff, and don't make assumptions that people aren't dealing with some pretty tough stuff if you don't see it. So kind of the usual, just like be kind to people and figure stuff out. I think I need that, and like a case of wine would be good.
And Sakara, what can you provide parents to support? What are some techniques that you could provide other parents to find better ways to cope with living at home, working at home with the kids, and just this new life that we have to adjust to? Like, what techniques can you provide other parents, and what ways can we support other people?
I would say perspective, really. Saying we're not stuck at home, we're safe at home. Those little things help, with this perspective of things. And it does get tough. So just know that no one's perfect. You're not going to have a perfect day every day. You're not going to have a schedule for your kids 24 hours, Monday through Friday. They go out from 9 to 5. You're not going to do all of that. It's tough. It's a tough situation for us. So I think patience and just not being like really hard on ourselves. This is new for everyone. Like, no one's ever been through this, pandemic thing. So just perspective, change your mentality, and, from a spiritual perspective, pray, study. That's what I'm doing.
All right. So I'm going to have Portia continue to talk about this as we bring on teachers, but I would like to thank all the parents for being on and parenting and doing awesome. You are awesome, okay? We're all adjusting, and just know that I'm here to support you all. I don't know what that looks like, so you have to tell me, like, I need you to do this, okay? I'm a direct communicator, so I'm here for you all. I don't drink, but I will send you a bottle. But have a drink for me, because I do need it. I miss those days. So thanks so much for being on, and I am going to bring in some more teachers to talk more about what it's like teaching during the COVID, okay?
All right.
Thank you so much. All right. All right. Hi, teachers. Welcome to the Marnese Live Talk Show. I just got done talking to some awesome parents across the United States and their children of how they're coping with staying at home, adjusting to being at home with kids, a new schedule. So I just like to quickly say thank you so much for being on, and thanks so much for being patient. Hi, Takar. Can I hear you now?
I can hear you.
Okay. So we're going to go around and just say, on the line, I have Takara, and she teaches at Arts and Tech. No, she teaches at
Pontiac Middle School.
Pontiac Middle School in Pontiac, Michigan. And then we have Stephanie Sutton, who teaches at Livingston Collegiate in New Orleans. And then we have Portia McIntosh, I'm sorry, she's back with us, and she teaches at Arts and Technology Academy in Pontiac, Michigan. And then we have Mr. Matthew. Thank you so much for tuning in and being patient with us from Edison Elementary. He teaches there in Detroit, Michigan. So welcome to Marnese Live. And so to get into the conversation, based on your experience, what has been working for teachers and what they can do to support parents and other teachers? And so I want to start with Miss Portia, because she was on the parent panel, and I want to, from both situations of parenting and teachers, being a teacher, what are some different techniques that you can provide for the audience? Unmute yourself.
There we go. Repeat your question. I'm sorry. I was trying to help someone get on.
All right, so based on the previous conversation, what does support look like? What support do you need? And as a parent, what support do you need? So as a teacher and a parent, what support do you need while, coping with quarantining at home, making sure that you're safe, and, just the adjustment of being a parent and a teacher from both areas?
Okay, so as far as a teacher is concerned, I would say, I know this is a new thing for everyone, and we've never gone through anything like this. However, it would be helpful if parents understand that we have the same type of life they're living with their kids and possibly having to work. I have to do the same thing. So just being patient with the teacher. If you text them and they don't get right back to you in 30 seconds, if I can't get back to you for 15 minutes, it's okay. Just, be patient, because not only am I preparing for my lessons, I also have 2 children that I need to take care of while I'm here. So that's what I said. Just patience, following instructions, because everything is always laid out. What we're using Google Classroom. We are constantly putting announcements, so be helpful to read before asking 1,000 questions, because just asking those questions constantly, especially when it's already been put up there all day, it can get pretty frustrating. Okay,
so from a parent, when you have to work 9 to 5, so just imagine a person that works 2 jobs, and then they have to come home and get their kids, dinner, try to help them with the homework that they really probably don't know how to do because of the Common Core situation. And we have to relearn how to do math. Like, shouldn't there be a period of, patience for the teachers? Because I get you, read the instructions. However, sometimes before you get onto the classroom or the kid get onto the Google Classroom, it's like, oh my gosh, you were supposed to do this? I didn't have time to read all this. And we're being the teachers too. So much appreciation to all the teachers out here. I can't wait. Y'all want a fruit basket? I am going to get it. Y'all need paper towel? Here you go. If we can find any. Yes. Here, I applaud you all, because I'm over here like, what? Okay. So could you expand more on like the patience of how, like, because parents feel like, how do they expect for us to do all this? We got to work, we got to cook, we got to clean, we got to make sure our kids aren't killing ourselves. And then we got to read all these instructions about stuff we don't really know how to do.
The great thing about how we are doing it is that we are doing PowerPoint with voiceovers. We are doing Zoom sessions that the students can get on. If they are not at the Zoom sessions, it does make it difficult for them to understand. But I mean like basic, when I say follow instructions, I mean the basic following instructions, like just click this link and Zoom will pop up. You know, and it's like, well, how do I get on Zoom? Like, I've shared it, I've texted to you, I put it on Google Classroom, I've emailed it. Literally click the link and it's gonna help and it's gonna guide you through. And that's what I mean by following directions. I understand the schooling part, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about like basic instructions. We've sent a syllabus for parents to read so they can have a lot of understanding of how this is going to work and a lot of things they need to know. So like after certain, but I don't mind answering the questions. I'm still getting parents texting me at 11:30 at night.
Wow. All right.
So it's just, just having those boundaries, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't text her at 11:30 at night.
Wow.
So I'm still getting that.
So we're gonna go to New Orleans, Stephanie, and people from the chat are saying, "Hey, New Orleans!" So welcome to Marnese Live. Could you tell us, based on your experience, what has been working for teachers, and how can we support you as teachers?
I can only speak specifically for high school because that's where I have most of my experiences in high school. And right now I am the director of college counseling at my high school. And parents, the one thing that I think that parents should do, especially with high schoolers, is to not distance themselves from the student. It's kind of like when they reach high school, it's, oh, they can do it themselves. And what I'm having trouble with right now is reaching my seniors with the things that they need to do. Like seniors, they need to complete their FAFSA. Seniors need to make sure that they're applying to college, following up, enrolling. And parents in the demographic that I work with, some just don't know. And that is no fault to them because they do not know. But I also think it's the job of the parent to make sure that you are still in your child's life and know what's going on with your student.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephanie. All right. So we're going to go to Mr. Matthew, Mr. T. All right. Tell us more about your experience as a physical education teacher in Detroit, right? And Detroit has a lot of COVID cases, right? So it's like, how are you balancing that? And do you think it's more easier for you because you're a physical education teacher? And tell us more about like, what support do you need?
Okay, well, first off, good evening. Can you hear me fine?
Yep.
Okay. It's funny because when this hit, it's like districts in Michigan were all on their own as far as where they were with online learning, where they were with distance learning. Myself, I've been teaching in Detroit for 20 years, Detroit Public Schools, and to be perfectly honest, we are way behind other districts with the online learning. Part of that is the population we teach. Part of that is the lack of administrative push to have that in place. And I can't stress enough that there's been a lack of leadership from the top with this situation. I mean, all the way at the top, starting with the Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos. You've heard nothing from her, nothing.
Yeah, that's funny. Wow, you know what? Great point.
I think I've seen her on one press conference with the president. One. this is a emergency situation with education in our country right now, and she should be leading the charge instead of being invisible. Okay.
Well, that's a reflection of her, as we all know. When you put unqualified people into positions, this is what happens. So as teachers, parents, we know what we need to rally behind in the upcoming 2020 federal election. We all got to turn out, okay? Just a little political plug there. And shout out to people in the chat, like this at Marnese Live at facebooklive.com. And then share this on your post, because these teachers, you know, we're across the nation, and then we're in Michigan, right? We're getting hit hard with the virus. So I want to go to Miss Takara Walker. So tell us, based on your experience, you know, what has been teachers working on, and what can we do to support the teachers during this quarantine time?
Well, one thing we can do is communicate effectively with teachers and administration. Our issues in Pontiac as well as Detroit, I am sure, as was previously mentioned, the lack of electronics, meaning access to either the internet or computers. We make personal calls to families and find out that they're either lacking both or one of the other. So that's a major issue. If they don't have access to the internet, they don't have access to our curriculum, which is all on Google Classrooms.
Which also is a bigger systemic issue, because if our kids are behind, they're not going to be able to do well when they graduate. They're just going to be behind. So, okay. Did anyone add anything else to that?
Yes, we also have other ways of getting work to students, just for them to, I guess, maintain their studies, to keep up with the work, since if they were already passing, the law was passed to say that they will matriculate to the next grade if they were already receiving passing grades. But that's still not a good enough reason to not continue to work the students.
Mm-hmm.
So we have packets available down at the Pontiac School District, but then that's another issue, transportation. If parents don't have transportation to get, you know, funds are limited, jobs were lost. So I'm not sure if they're going to be mailing them out or not, which seems like that's something that they would probably do. But we are having it to where parents who fit the criteria come and receive a Chromebook for the students. And that's going to be. So the school district is providing computers for the students to use.
Okay. Portia, did you have something to add to that?
I do. I know at ATAP we have a survey that we've been putting out, and the parents have to fill out the survey, and based on that, they have been able to come to the school and get laptops. And we're also providing hotspots. Okay. They have to fill out a survey.
And where can they find this?
We've been sending it out through Remind, through email, on Facebook. So parents have to make sure that they are doing it, because there are only so many laptops available. And I would say only if they absolutely need it to actually come and get one. So, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to go back to Miss Stephanie in New Orleans. So what are you looking forward to after the quarantine? And does this shape, what do you plan to do? Because we all see there's a lot of systemic issues. We see that we have a person that's not showing up. We see that there are some disparities. So what do you plan to do in New Orleans? Because New Orleans is also a place with a lot of cases.
Oh yeah, we're like number 3. I think we're right behind y'all, or we like neck and neck. We're right there.
What do you look forward to after the quarantine as a teacher? Like, what do you plan to get behind? Because if this quarantine has not sparked some new way of thinking, something, in my opinion, this is Marnese Jackson opinion, something is wrong with our society. If we're not looking at new ways to do things, it's quite obvious, as Mr. T said, that, to just piggyback off what he said, that we are behind. We don't have a lot of access to technology. Transportation is an issue to get the technology. So it's like we have an opportunity to, get behind a lot of intersectional issues. So I'd like to hear more from you, Stephanie, about like what would be something that you just really want to do within your control to move some things forward.
I think one of the things that I would like to do when I'm thinking about the upcoming school year, is just thinking about the internet situation. We have been sending out things to parents now for the low cost internet that our cable provider provides us down here, and they're offering 2 free months, and if you qualify, it's only $10 a month. I'm not sure how many parents know about that, and I think that that would be one thing that I would like to push. I would also like to push districts, teachers, to start writing grants to get the technology. If we start, the money is out there, and I think that people want to donate, and they want to give us things. I do think that we need to push ourselves to go and get those things and provide it for our students. And we also, when we do have technology, and I've worked, not where I currently work now, but where I used to work, we kind of hoard the technology because we're afraid of what will happen if we give that technology to students. Oh, it might not come back. We shouldn't be doing these things. And we can't be so afraid of losing something that we aren't pushing our students forward. They need what I have found that has been very beneficial, because I have a daughter myself, is she is now able to have her own email. She is on Google Classroom and is learning these things, which is something that she would not have done had this not happened. And I kind of think that we need to take this as an opportunity to say, you know what, this is where our kids are lacking. And when we come back, we need to make sure that they are ready for the 21st century. They need to be knowing how to do all of these different things, send emails, get on Google Classroom. And it is our job to provide those things for them. So if there are things that we can do to help get into those homes, to make sure that it's important for them and getting it to them when they are in school, that's something that we need to do.
Thank you so much, Mr. T, I would like to hear more, like, what do you think, since you're in Detroit, we have the highest number of cases. Detroit have water issues, pollution issues, of course, you have lead in the water in the school districts. Like, I have to highlight the EJ issues that's going on in Detroit. You have so many issues going on in Detroit, but then there's this narrative around the new Detroit, right? So what does this mean, since Detroit is so new, right? How are we going to really lift up that narrative that, okay, wait a minute, just because we have, this white flight coming back to Detroit, we have gentrification, we still have systemic issues. So what are you looking forward to getting behind, and what are you noticing that, in your control, what you can do, from where you sit?
Well, I tell you what, it's a lot. It's one thing about this whole situation is it's going to bring to light what's really going on, and the fact that, like, for example, we today, the 14th, this afternoon, we were just given professional development videos about Microsoft Teams. We're not using Google Classroom, although I've heard it's better. I don't know, because it's all new to me. But we were just given the professional development videos today on Microsoft Teams. Now, that's way behind other school districts that are 2 weeks into this as far as implementing curriculum. We were given curriculum today, able to look at it, and I've been teaching for 20 years, and I'm not perfect, but I know what's good and what's not. And some of it, I'm wondering, did they even bring teachers in to develop this online curriculum? What bag did this come out of for them to think, okay, this would be good to do this day, and not even have the system that it builds on itself each day. But to answer your question, as far as what can we do, I think that's where strong unions come in. I think that's where the voice of people in the trenches, because we had to do sick outs to bring attention to Detroit Public Schools a couple years ago. And I know in New Orleans after Katrina, am I right that it's all chartered out now? Okay, that's I think that this is just me speaking off the top of my head. I think that's not an accident, and I think people in certain places would love to charter out the whole system in Detroit, because then you get the Skillmans. Then
in Flint too, just to say that they would like to do it in Flint too.
You know what? And we got Pontiac on here, and Pontiac's in the same boat. You talked about the packets. We're giving out packets too for the duration of the school year, but we're not taking them to the homes. They have to come pick them up from a school, like you said. That some parents don't have transportation, then they forced to drive public transportation. The bus drivers are getting sick. I mean, this is a snowball effect thing going on just for these babies to learn. It's like they have to jump through so many hoops just to learn the basics. And it seems like in other places, it's spoon-fed easily. It's easily accessible. Whereas we had an uphill battle just to get them information to learn.
And you're talking about other places such as more affluent communities. So you're
Bloomfield, Canton,
we'll make a play
out there.
Make a play.
These are places that I know personally that they're I know people that work in these districts, and I see things. They show me things, and I show them where we're at, and it's a discrepancy in the whole system. Okay, but back to your original question, because we're going to come out of this eventually. And there's going to have to be a medium between school settings, learning, and talking about in urban areas. There's going to have to find a medium. It can't just go back to the way it was. I mean, not too long ago, we still had chalk and chalkboards. We just got smart boards 4 or 5 years ago, whereas some districts had them 10 years ago. That's just a microcosm of what I'm talking about. It has to be a medium where we catch up with technology, because that's where the whole thing's headed.
Okay. All right. So to go back to Pontiac, Miss Takara, so what are you looking forward to after this quarantine, and what is something that that you look forward to? Did we lose her? Oh, you're welcome back, Takara. You got to unmute yourself. Okay.
Okay.
So what are you looking forward to after this quarantine? Like, what is something that you're so passionate about? Like, hey, look, we need to think about these kids. What is something that I plan to get behind? And Portia, we're going to come to you in a second, and then we're going to do a round of hope, of like find something hopeful that we can send out to people and to other teachers. So Takara, I'd like to hear more from you. What you're looking forward to?
Fiscal responsibility. If we're going to do anything, if we're going to push anything, we need to see the numbers. We, the public, the taxpayers, need to see how this money is being divided up, because it's there, but we're not physically seeing it in the classrooms, in the schoolhouses.
You divide it up between like the more affluent schools versus the urban schools? Are you saying?
Our village just got passed. No, I'm saying our actual school districts.
Okay.
Grassroots at a more personal level. Betsy DeVos, the billionaire, Betsy DeVos, the billionaire. You got to know that first and foremost if you want to know anything about Betsy DeVos. She's a billionaire. Therefore, she doesn't care. The end. Anyway. So if we want to start, we don't need to start there. Forget that. It's a lost cause. We need to start at the immediate level that is being impacted, which is at the city level of where your students go to school. Say no to charter schools. I did the math with my students when we were still in, and that's where our money is going. We have to say no to a lot of stuff. As in, when these other districts do get the new materials and the new everything, the lower districts need to flat out say no to their old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because
and how do they say no?
The higher ups feel like if we have their own stuff, then they're not in a hurry to get us anything, are they?
So how do a parent? How does parents who don't have like the barriers, right? No working 2 jobs, don't have transportation, don't have the access. Like, what can they do to say no? Is it turning out to vote? What can they do?
Yeah, that's first. Carve the time out, priorities, what's really important to you. Mm-hmm. Because we make time for everything else that we feel like
facts
is important, and it's not. It's escapism. Mm-hmm. So if we can do a little more escapism and a little more work, then there you have it. Prioritize. Make the time. Get together with people. Do study group stuff. Mm-hmm. Have one parent that's responsible for being the proctor of like 5 students or however many students they can handle at a time. That's how you get it done. It's a community. Teachers not at school teaching by ourselves. We teach together. Mm-hmm. That's how we get it done. Together. One of us inside a schoolhouse is not going to accomplish anything. Mm-hmm. We have to use what's around us to get the job done. So whether it's people, things, places, whatever. Teach real world scenarios and still put the work into it. As in, you want them to read, teach them how to cook. They need to learn how to read a recipe. A recipe is teaching 2 things at one time. English language arts and mathematics.
All right, thank you. I think I'm getting a delay. Takara, was that? Okay.
Because you have to be creative. That's what I would say. Be creative and don't back down. Bureaucracy is difficult and frustrating, but it's unnecessary. Mm-hmm. And we don't ever need to back down. So that's my last words. Never back down when it comes to fighting for the education of your children. The end.
Thank you so much, Ms. Walker. Yeah. All right, Ms. Portia, take us home.
One thing that I want to say is that, and what exactly, like what I'm looking forward to after all of this is I really, really hope there is an increase in parent participation. Mm-hmm. Because now I had a parent text me today and say, this is the hardest thing that I ever had to do. I've never had to sit and teach my daughter through a computer based on what you put on a computer. I've never had to do this before. And she's so appreciative of teachers. And so I really hope there is a mindset shift in all of this and how difficult it really is to teach. Like, that's just one student that, or maybe you have more than one, but just imagine a teacher who has, like myself, I have 28 children. That's 28 different personalities. That's 28 different academic levels. And sometimes, you have to individualize work. So I really, really hope that when we call in parents, they're answering the phones. When we ask them to come to parent-teacher conferences, they're coming to parent-teacher conferences. When we talk to the parents about behaviors, they're saying, they're actually willing to listen versus just be, just like, oh, he all right. That's not him. He don't act like that at home. She don't act like that at home.
No, that's your kid.
I really hope after all of this, there is a huge change, not only with our parents here, but also, just like Mr. T was saying, as far as administration is concerned, as far as the state of Michigan is concerned. And when this happened, I said, we got so comfortable with our freedom, we didn't even know what to do when this happened. People were freaking out about school and how we were going to get these kids on, how these kids were going to learn, where other school districts already had a plan.
Right.
They already had a plan.
Right.
However, we just got so, I really believe we just got so used to, getting up, taking our, dropping our kids off at school every day, not thinking what happens if the kids have to stay home? Mm-hmm. What are we going to do? And just like Takara said, parents need to speak up when it's time to pass those millages, going to vote. Mm-hmm. Polls are open. They open at 7 in the morning. Mm-hmm. They're open from 7 to 7. Mm-hmm. And going to the school board meetings if you know, if you go, whether or not it's a public school or charter school, they both have a board system. Going to the board meeting, speaking up, because if they don't hear from the parents, they're just gonna do what they want to do.
Right.
And we have to get out to the polls. Like, we really need to get people like Donald Trump out of office so we can get people like Betsy DeVos, who, just like she said, is a billionaire and owns half of Grand Rapids. She don't care. She does not care about public schools. So if we don't say anything, then there's nothing's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. They're just going to do whatever they want to do.
All right. So rain, sleet, snow, no transportation. We need to be figuring out how we go turn out to vote.
Carpool. Call your cousin. You can call the person that takes you to the grocery store. Call the same person that takes you to the club. Call that person. Call those people.
Right. We got to do those old school civil rights movement practices. Right.
You need to get some church buses. Pick people up.
Right.
All these church buses, all these churches around here. It's a church on every corner in Pontiac, and Detroit, and Flint, Saginaw.
Is it like that in New Orleans, Stephanie? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Portia. So thank you so much for tuning in to the No Excuses section of moving forward and how we can do some things. They gave you all some action steps. Turn out to vote. Get involved with your school. Turn out to vote, not just the federal, the local elections, your school board elections, your charter schools, if that's where your kids attend school. Do something that's in your power or that's in your control. Carpool. Don't make any excuse as to why we can't be here for our kids. So to end, I'd like to ask you all to go around and send some type of hope to teachers, parents, and kids that they could take home with us, because we need some type of positive reflection and something just to keep us grounded. If you believe in God, your spirituality, whatever you believe in, just to keep us grounded as people and just to lean into being positive. So I'm gonna go to Mr. T, and before we go into that, I would like to say thank you to everybody for tuning in and being patient. Thank you to all the parents and kids for tuning in to the Marnese Live show, and all my guests. And thanks so much for being patient with the technical difficulties. So, Mr. T, take us home.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you guys and kick it today. But I say it like this: if God is with us, who can be against us? It's a battle, but it was a battle before this. This is just makes it, I want to say, more difficult. But like I said, in a way, it could be a blessing in disguise from an educational standpoint, because now it's no excuse for school districts in urban areas and in certain spots that haven't had technology and resources. Now there's no excuse not to have it. And keep pushing. Don't stop fighting, because God is good and He got your back and you're doing right.
All right. Thank you, Mr. T. All right, Miss Stephanie.
I guess my parting words would be that you are not in this alone. We are all going through this together, and it will all pass. I know sometimes people feel like, especially parents at home with their students, that it's overwhelming and they might not have people that they can go to, but there are definitely resources out there for people who may be struggling, and I want people to know that it is okay to feel the way that you're feeling, but to reach out and know that it will get better.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that, and I love your hair. So, all right, Miss Takara.
Hey, my parting words are: all things are in divine order. So I absolutely don't believe that there's much more to be afraid of. Fear is going to kill more people than the coronavirus, so don't be afraid.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's all good. There are more people surviving than dying, ladies and gentlemen. So forget the death toll. Don't attach yourself to that energy. That's not you. That's not real. That's what they want you to think. Think, yay, some people out here really did shake it off.
All right.
Also, play at least one of your favorite songs every day and dance even if you don't know how.
Thank you so much. All right. All right. And Miss Portia, thanks so much for being on with us. Go ahead and take us home.
I would say patience and understanding goes a long way right now. Patience with yourself, patience with your children, patience with the teachers, because this is all new for everyone. So and then don't be so quick to think you have to get it done. Like I have to get it done. I have to get it done. I have to get it done. So like as far as like even when I do my assignments, I assign them on Monday. They're due Friday. Take your time. Someone said use the resources. Google is a wonderful resource. YouTube is a wonderful resource. So if you're feeling a little frustrated, there are things that you can do. Call other people as well. Have your kids pick up the phone and contact that student in class who they know always understands something. It's okay because we're all in this together.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in to Marnese Live talk show. Thank you, teachers, for coming on and being patient. So I would like to say good night to you all. Stay safe and continue to be awesome and being activists and educators and advocates for our children. So have a wonderful night, and I would love to see you all soon on Marnese Live. Good night.